They jump on the biggest one because it's the coolest, and then they can't control it. They have no handle on it.
Basically, you fly off and hit a rock or something like that, it'll take the brunt, not impale you.
Usually, most groups are pretty welcoming because we all know we're out there for the same reason, freedom. You know, two wheels is freedom.
It really depends on your engine.
Did you know it's Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month? Or have you been thinking about learning how to ride a motorcycle for the first time? Well, in today's video, we're going over recommended motorcycles for beginners, gear, safety advice, and rider's experience on the road. Now, I'd like to preface this by saying there's thousands of factors to consider when riding a motorcycle, and that your top priority should always be safety, which is why I'm not gonna sit here and give you advice on something I've never done. But my coworkers are a different story. Name?
CR250?
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Evan. My name's CR250.
I'm AJ. I ride a 2011 Street Glide.
Well, my name's Scott. I ride a 2014 Street Glide.
My name is Marcel Graber, 99 copper and silver Hayabusa, and a 2012 Yamaha R1. I started riding motorcycles about 8 or 9 years old.
Say 26 years. 26 years.
22 years? I started riding when I was 5.
What should I keep in mind when I'm searching for a bike?
When looking at a bike, you want to consider what you think you can handle.
Like a 300 or a 500 as just a good beginner bike.
I would definitely go bigger than you think you were gonna go. Once you get comfortable and start getting used to it, you'll want that bigger bike.
Very first thing I would tell you to do is get a dirt bike. Nothing that affects riding more than this, the right hand. That's the throttle, and that's the front brake.
Just as all of my friends who own street bikes, they get that entry-level bike, and it's not long before they want to sell it and get something bigger.
Get a very fast motorcycle, but that doesn't mean you have to ride it very fast. Go 25, 30 miles an hour for months if you want. Gain the ability and be competent with what you can do on that bike.
10, 15 minutes if you can handle that bike or not.
And the dirt bike side of things is a 4-stroke engine. Just has a more gradual acceleration. There's less maintenance to the bike. 2-stroke, have a fast power band, you get a lot of power out of it, but there's a lot more maintenance. You gotta mix the oil.
Nothing wrong with getting a brand new motorcycle. Just be aware that it's a lot more expensive when it falls over. You break thousands of dollars in plastics. Just the fairings, thousands of dollars.
Understand the rules of the road and riding and being around cars. And a lot of people outgrow their bikes and they'll move to a 5 and then they'll think that's slow and they'll move to 1,000. It's best to start off with not a lot of power and kind of like work your way up to it.
Like clothes or gear should I be looking for?
The choice of gear and the budget allowed for that gear is dependent on how much you want to spend in the hospital.
Always helmet, gloves, glasses, boots. You don't want to be riding in tennis shoes because that's not going to provide any safety whatsoever.
Like full face helmets. Don't do half shell, don't do 3/4 shells, do a full face.
Nobody realizes what it's like to jump out of a car at 70 miles an hour, but on a motorcycle, that's exactly what happens is you're falling out of your vehicle. That's freeway speeds. Leather is really good.
I mean, you should buy a leather jacket, you should buy protective pants and gear and stuff like gloves. Like people put like reflective vests on as just a form of protection so cars can see you.
But again, budget denominates what gear you're gonna get.
The leather clothes is for the asphalt. Out in the dirt and everything, I've never seen anybody wearing leather, but we all seem to wear jerseys and very light fitted clothes. It's more about the chest protector itself, hard piece of plastic. Basically, you fly off and hit a rock or something like that, it'll take the brunt, not impale you.
The saying is, dress for the slide, not for the ride, meaning you gotta be geared up for crashing.
Have you gotten tips from other people to improve and be safe?
Oh yeah, all the time. At first, I recommend you just riding with one person, and that one person being well experienced to like help you and watch out for you and make sure that you're not in danger or in trouble. Or
the good thing is we're just such a small community, motorcyclists, compared to obviously the general public. Usually, most groups are pretty welcoming because we all know we're out there for the same reason, freedom. You know, two wheels is freedom.
So while we're riding in a group and you pass somebody, I let them know that there's still 3 more people coming. It's kind of like a courtesy thing you do out there when you're riding. Let those people who are coming know how many other people are coming around that turn. It's a really cool thing, everybody does it.
Watch. watch the guy you're riding next to. Just pay attention to what he's doing. You guys kind of want to move together, especially, you know, when coming through turns or weaving in and out of traffic.
How do you handle splitting lanes?
I don't like splitting lanes going any faster than like 35 miles an hour.
The most safe way to split lanes is keep your speed down.
I'll see the tires getting closer to like the lines more like faster than I'll see the car getting closer to lines. They're doing something on their phone or they're doing something in their car and now their car's doing this.
Logic to why there was lane splitting, purely the way the bikes used to be. You know, they were air cooled, they needed to be moving, and so California kind of allowed that to occur.
A lot of the times people don't look in their rearview mirrors. They just don't, and they'll sideswipe you.
My personal choice to split lanes. You don't have to split lanes, so you have to be very, very observant.
Have you ever ridden in groups on your bikes?
Absolutely.
Is there a proper way to ride in a group?
Yeah.
I believe the experienced person should lead, because while you're out there, it's kind of an open canvas and a map, and an inexperienced rider wouldn't know what trail.
The reason why you'd have somebody lead is because they're going to let everybody know if there's an obstruction, if we're making a lane change. There's a lot of reasons to have a leader. 9 times out of 10, whoever's leading the ride will also designate somebody be the last rider as well.
We'll have an experienced rider in the very back just to keep an eye on the newer riders, staggered or side by side. You know, sometimes the newer riders aren't comfortable yet. We'll let them, you know, hang out in the back, but we'll keep an eye on them.
The reason you're staggered is because if you were to ride directly behind somebody, they're blocking your view of what's coming. Now all of a sudden you've got at least that motorcycle until the next in the group to be able to see what's coming ahead. There's a lot of signals that go on when you're on a group ride.
Is the whole group skill level able to go down that trail? That'd be up to the most skilled rider to be in the front.
Have you been in an accident before?
I have.
What happened in your accident?
A lack of awareness. It was a split second. Car in front of me slammed on his brakes. As soon as I looked, I saw lights, car stopped.
You're fully exposed, so the observant rider is going to be probably the best rider.
Go into the back of the car or just lay the bike down, so I chose to lay the bike down when I fishtailed. I'd rather be aware that I'm going down than completely out of nowhere.
Again, I've crashed at 135 miles an hour, and I literally walked away with bumps and bruises in a leather suit. I've also crashed in a leather suit 120 miles an hour, and I fractured an ankle.
You can have options to get out. Usually none of the options are really safe.
Tore ligaments in both ankles.
It's usually like choosing the worst of two evils.
Didn't walk for 3 weeks, had to air cast for 5 weeks.
What's your chances? Is your chances jumping off the bike at 65 or going face first into a wall in 65?
The variables involved in crashing are going to affect how badly you get hurt.
Any tips to stay safe as a beginner?
There's just so many first-time questions that I would highly recommend going with somebody that's ridden before. You're not going to be looking them up on their phone.
Don't be stupid.
You hit something at 20 on a bike, I mean, you break bones. So it's respecting the bike, respect it. That's the biggest thing I can say, which follows up with don't be stupid.
You open your horizons when you start to ride on a motorcycle, because the two-wheel experience, it just makes you recognize a completely different environment. You know, you're in the environment, whereas in your car, you're in your car, and the car is in the environment. So you have to just be a lot more diligent to be more observant of everything that's going on.